Hi, I'm Jaakko. I do the vocals on Mariana's Rest.
Hi, I'm Niko. I play bass in Mariana's Rest.
Well, thanks. It's a nice kind of change from the normal day routine. I came straight from my day job to be here. Niko already actually lives here, so he didn't have long way.
Yes, like 10 kilometers, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Good to be here.
Good to be here.
Oh yeah, a bit terrified actually. That's kind of the normal case. I think you always have a bit of fear how people kind of accept the new stuff, but now maybe a bit more than normally because we have new things on this album. Wanted to kind of add some layers, but keep the kind of the heart, the nucleus, the heart center of the band together. And well, of course, we think that we succeeded masterfully, but I don't know, other people may think differently. So that's kind of what we're anxiously waiting to hear what people think about it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's weird because when the release date is getting closer and closer, it's more terrifying to wait how people take it than the moment when we are actually doing this art and music. I think it's really relaxed process when we are composing the songs, and it's not terrifying at all. It's like the opposite. But when you are releasing it to the world, it's always the same.
You just kind of hope that all the choices you made during the process are kind of people see it the same way that you do.
I think it turned out a bit more artistic because that's the one reason, because we had more time doing that because the pandemic. We knew that there's no gigs that much after Fata Morgana, so we started doing this record a bit earlier than before, and it gave us a chance to try different things and polish it a bit more than with the previous albums. And maybe that's because, of course, you can tell a bit more about the storyline, but I think the lyrical wise it shouted more contrast and more white and more black and so on. So we kind of, the story we wanted to tell, it kind of, we had to expand a bit the way we express ourselves, and we wanted to have strong contrasts, darkness, light more than normally, and the idea was to kind of go through a cycle from darkness to a brief moment of light and hope, and then again end up in the same place as we started. So you could say that the story required a different kind of perspective in making the album, and I think at first we were a bit worried if we can kind of pull it off. For example, the clean vocals and that sort of the calmer moments, but our producer kind of he was straight away. He thought that let's make it ourselves. More as much ourselves as we can, and that's what we did, and I think it was the right choice. It was actually our guitarist Niko who made the kind of. I made the arrangements, and I actually sung it in the studio also. We kind of had a battle of clean vocals, and you did it too. We all did it. We kind of tried out, and Mänty, as he's called, he won it. So I think it was the producer Teemu and our other guitarist Harri that were the kind of made the decision that, and we everybody agreed that we are not kind of. It has to be about the song and what works together, not about our personal egos or that sort of stuff. So and it was great to have
he's now called a levylaulaja.
A record singer.
Record singer. So I think he's pretty proud of it.
Yeah, new item on the CV, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
And you also did those like half clean, like you sang in the melody in the other song. So
yeah, that was a bit new too.
Few new things.
Yeah. In the song Hanging Blade, there's this part where this really echoed sound in the vocals, and it was actually done in the hallway of the studio. The mic was in a different floor than I was. I was shouting in the hallway, and it was weird, but it turned out pretty good. So it isn't the echo is from the hallway. It's not made in the studio.
It's also more interesting. I mean, we never felt that we like have to reach the same things we already made, and that sounds that we are always reaching anything freak or such. But yeah, it's more us doing things differently and not stucking in the same wheel.
Yeah, and as you said, we had maybe a bit more time to experiment, and when somebody had an idea in the studio, for example, I think you played some acoustic part in a couple of songs,
yes.
And they were not kind of. He was just jamming when other people were recording, and then this sounds good. Let's do this also, and these kind of moments.
Yeah, those are never like choices we made already. It's naturally turned out that we tried some things.
Do you have an example on the record of that?
Yeah, in Sirens, the acoustic guitar part, I think that was one of those.
Yes, and funny thing, there's in Sirens there's acoustic parts, but in the song Deceased there's those acoustic guitar parts which are recorded in our rehearsal place.
Yeah,
and they were not going to be on the record in the first place. We just figured out later that maybe
we can't take them out anymore. We just kind of try to go with the flow of the songs and not kind of think too much. If something sounded good, we did it, and obviously we had the chance to later on figure out that, well, this wasn't as good idea as we thought in the first place. We gotta always to take something out, but we didn't do that a lot. A few things. I think there was this in Hanging Blade there was this one guitar melodic guitar that took off from the end of the song.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, but otherwise I think almost everything remained. It needed something, and actually I think that was also Mänty, our guitarist, who kind of first found it. He had heard it a long time ago. I think it's from the 70s or something, and we just knew that, well, this is something we kind of want to use, but it ended up in Deceased. It was not kind of the only choice. It could have been some other song, but it turned out to be Deceased, and I think it kind of fits the atmosphere, and of course also the story of the song perfectly. It's weird listen. It gives you it's a creepy parts. In previous albums we've kind of they are kind of in one stories inside from someone's head, but now we kind of try to take the focus out from an individual perspective and be more tell the story in a view of the society or even mankind. It's kind of a story where, well, we tend to repeat our mistakes, and and we cannot really. We have big problems that we know we need to solve or address, but something kind of keeps us from doing it, and then we kind of the only way to evolve is through some sort of big shock or destruction, and then there's this brief moment of light where people maybe have more they can kind of look each other differently and kind of start to rebuild with more solidarity, and then there's this brief moment of hope and and feeling of togetherness, but eventually usually the history repeats itself and it tends to go on the same track at some point as it did before. It's hard to learn not to repeat the same mistakes, and that's kind of the story of the album.
How the things are in the world, like at the moment, and if you listen our album, that was unintentional to do an album and reflecting this day. That's not, but the pandemic were on in the time when we were making that. So yes, of course, you or us are taking parts from everyday life and how the world is going on right now.
Yeah, and
there's no like fantasy, or they are like true stories and situations where we are going now.
Yeah, and of course the pandemic gave us time to kind of, it affected on the whole process. But yeah, the songs were already made when Russia attacked Ukraine. But of course it kind of changed maybe the whole way we looked at it and the story. It kind of made it more how do you say, ajankohtainen.
Like contemporary?
Yeah. It's hard to kind of listen to it now without thinking that in that context.
We talked about that we want to present someone on the record, and we were like tossing a few names who it would be, and turned out we had a mutual friend with Aaron, and she introduced us to ourselves, and the end is history. So yeah, and it turned out also that Aaron is super easygoing, and I think he nailed all his parts at the first attempt or so, and
the only choice when you look back at it. The weird thing is that we didn't kind of figure it out ourselves. We needed someone else to kind of point him out. But yeah, and we're so happy that he kind of liked the song and wanted to take part in it. It's a big thing to us, of course, because well, he's one of the legends in this music genre and a big inspiration, of course, to the whole band. So yeah, it's a weird thing to have on board. We have a lot of plans, but nothing we can really talk about at this point. But yeah, that's the plan, to do as many as we possibly can. That's the thing we enjoy the most, I think. That's the best part of this. Well, we are trying to give something a little extra on these two shows, and of course play a lot of songs from the new album while doing it. But yeah, you can't kind of give everything out. There must be a shroud of mystery.
Some things never change. I mean, of course, things are getting more haste, but still we are a group of idiots and friends who just like playing music. So many new things, but some things never change. This whole thing started as a therapy project, and it still is a therapy project. Of course, we try to do things. We've learned a lot, and try to do things more professionally, and just take it one step at a time to the right direction. Just to kind of
make the most of what we can do and try new things and that sort of stuff. But yeah, of course, I don't think any of us planned that
How it's going to be.
yeah, how it's going to be. It was just a project to kind of have a few beers and escape from the daily routines and that sort of stuff. But yeah, glad it turned out this way. Yeah, actually, I didn't even kind of. I remember in an interview a couple of weeks back, somebody told me that you were turning 10 to this year. I said, get the fuck out of here. But yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and but we haven't talked about it. Maybe we have to do something special by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
Well,
many years to come.
yeah.
Hopefully many years to come.
Yeah.
We hope to meet as many of you as possible during the following months and next year on shows, on tours, and hope you enjoyed the new album. Of course, we make this for ourselves, but it's not very enjoyable if it's only for yourselves. Of course, it's very important for us to kind of see how people react and hope it kind of gives pleasure and maybe ease to people. That's kind of, I think,
Yes.
the main thing.